Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you for a minute about something every woman wants to understand: how to capture a man's heart so deeply that he can't get you out of his mind. I'm not talking about tricks or manipulation. I'm talking about the kind of presence and energy that draws a man in naturally, the kind of silence that speaks louder than words. There's something truly magnetic about a woman who knows how to hold her own silence. You see, too many people think that being quiet means being shy, being unsure, or not having anything to say, but that's not true at all. Silence, when done with confidence, is a statement louder than any words you could speak. It tells a man that you are comfortable with yourself, that you are whole on your own, and that you don't need constant validation to feel important. When a man sees that kind of presence, he can't help but take notice. He starts to wonder, who is this woman? How does she carry herself with such calm and poise? That curiosity is the first spark of fascination, the kind that can turn into obsession if nurtured naturally. Confidence in silence isn't about ignoring someone or playing hard to get. It's about knowing your worth and letting your presence speak for itself. When you're able to sit in a room and just be, without filling the space with unnecessary chatter, you're showing strength. You're saying, without saying a word, that you don't need approval, that your energy is enough. And men, whether they admit it or not, are drawn to that. They want to be around someone who isn't constantly seeking attention. Someone who knows how to command a room just by existing in it. That's the kind of silence that makes them think about you long after you've left the room. Makes them replay your expressions, your laughs, the way you carry yourself. This kind of confidence also creates a sense of mystery. It gives a man room to imagine, to explore who you are without being told everything at once. Silence, when paired with self-assuredness, keeps him intrigued. It's not about being cold or unapproachable. It's about showing that you are complete, that you have a life, that you are not defined by someone else's attention. Every confident silence, every moment where you choose presence over words, sends a message that is irresistible. It tells him that you are rare, that you are worth discovering, and that he must step up to truly know you. There's something incredibly attractive about a woman who has her own life, her own dreams, her own ambitions. Men notice this more than they'll ever admit. When a woman is constantly available, always waiting around, or tying her happiness to someone else's schedule, it sends a message that she lacks self-sufficiency. But the woman who lives fully, who has goals she's chasing, friends she cherishes, and passions that light her up, she carries a kind of magnetic energy that's impossible to ignore. She's not just a person to be entertained, she's a person to be admired. Men see that, and it sparks something deep inside them, a respect, a fascination, a desire to be part of that energy without controlling it. Independence doesn't mean shutting someone out or being distant. It means showing that your life is complete on its own. You wake up in the morning with plans, with purpose, with a mission, and yes, he can be part of it, but you are not defined by him. That kind of woman makes a man chase, not because she's playing games, but because she is living fully, and he wants to be included in that fullness. There's an invisible force when you are genuinely engaged in your own world, a force that commands attention without having to ask for it. When he sees you laughing with friends, accomplishing something you set your mind to, or simply enjoying your own company, he begins to realize that you're not someone who can be easily won over or taken for granted. That realization builds respect, admiration, and yes, obsession. The beauty of independence is that it also removes desperation from the equation. A man can sense when a woman is dependent or too eager, and that doesn't create attraction, it creates pressure. But a woman with her own life, her own rhythm, and her own confidence doesn't put him on a pedestal. She puts herself in a position of self-worth. That balance is intoxicating. It allows him to breathe, to pursue, to invest his attention naturally rather than feeling forced. When he sees that you're not waiting for his validation to feel alive, it ignites a curiosity, a desire, and ultimately a passion to be part of your world without overshadowing it. And let's not forget that independence encourages him to rise to the occasion. When a woman is fully engaged in her own life, he has to step up if he wants to keep pace. That challenge is exciting for a man. It motivates him to become better, to match your energy, and to genuinely value what you bring into his life. Independence is not just about being apart. It's about being fully present for yourself, and by extension, becoming irresistible to the right man who sees your worth. There is an incredible, almost magnetic power in a woman who truly listens. I'm not talking about just nodding or giving small responses while your mind is somewhere else. I'm talking about the kind of listening that makes a man feel like he's the only person in the room, like his thoughts, his feelings, his words actually matter. When a man speaks and you are fully present, not interrupting, not judging, not rushing to respond, something happens. He feels understood, validated, and safe. That kind of presence, that kind of attention is rare in the world we live in. Most people are too busy thinking about what they're going to say next or how they're going to react. But the woman who can just listen without distraction, without ego, she's the one who leaves a lasting impression, who stays in his mind long after the conversation ends. Active listening is more than just hearing words. It's about absorbing meaning, catching the emotions behind what's being said, and reflecting them back in a way that shows connection. When a man talks about his dreams, his fears, or even his everyday frustrations, and he senses that you are really paying attention, it sparks something deep. It makes him feel seen, valued, and understood. That's powerful. That's the kind of connection that can create obsession because it goes beyond surface level attraction. It reaches into his heart and mind and tells him that he's found someone rare, someone who gets him without needing to change him, someone who can hold his thoughts and feelings like precious things without judgment. The beauty of listening in silence is that it gives him space to open up naturally. You see, too often people try to fill the gaps with their own stories, their own advice, or their own opinions. But the woman who can hold a quiet, attentive space allows him to reveal himself fully at his own pace. That silence, the kind that's warm, present, and receptive, is magnetic because it's inviting. It says, without words, that he matters, that what he says matters, and that you are interested in him for who he really is, not just what he shows on the surface. Listening also creates a subtle but powerful sense of trust. When a man knows he can speak freely without judgment or interruption, he begins to feel a bond that is hard to break. He starts sharing more, revealing deeper layers of his personality. And the more he does that, the more invested he becomes. That investment, that emotional connection, is what makes him think about you constantly. It's not manipulation, it's connection. It's genuine. It's the kind of interaction that builds obsession because it touches him on levels that words alone cannot reach. And here's the thing, listening well also demonstrates confidence. You don't feel the need to dominate the conversation or prove anything. You are secure in yourself, and that security allows him to feel safe, to let his guard down, and to want to be closer to you. Silence in this case becomes your ally. The quieter you can be while truly absorbing him, the more captivated he becomes. He starts replaying your presence in his mind, remembering how it felt to be fully heard, fully seen, fully understood. That is the kind of power a woman wields when she listens with her heart, with patience, and with intention. There is a certain kind of power in restraint, a power that comes from not revealing everything about yourself all at once. Men are naturally curious creatures, and when a woman allows just enough to be seen but keeps some things for later, it creates an irresistible pull. You see, too often people think that to be loved or desired, they have to lay their entire heart on the table immediately. But the truth is, mystery builds fascination. It gives a man something to chase, something to think about, something to wonder about when you're not around. That anticipation, that slow unfolding keeps him engaged, keeps him captivated, and ultimately keeps him obsessed in a way that constant exposure never could. Restraint doesn't mean being cold or unapproachable. It's not about shutting him out or playing games. It's about understanding that your worth isn't defined by how much you give in every single moment. There is a subtle, magnetic energy in a woman who can laugh, speak, and connect, but also hold back a little. She allows him to earn his way into deeper parts of her life, her mind, and her heart. That balance is what draws him in and keeps him thinking about you long after a conversation ends. When you show just enough, you create a sense of value around yourself. He begins to realize that being with you isn't automatic, it's special. That rarity makes him invest more, emotionally and mentally, and it strengthens the connection between you both. Mystery also works hand in hand with restraint because it gives him room to imagine, to wonder, and to appreciate you in ways he can't fully articulate. When you reveal every detail too soon, there's nothing left for him to discover. But when you share selectively, he starts to fill in the gaps with his curiosity, his imagination, and his desire to understand you better. That curiosity becomes fascination, and fascination becomes obsession. Men are drawn to that which they can't fully capture or predict. It's human nature. When a woman respects herself enough to hold back, she doesn't just teach him patience, she makes him earn every piece of her attention, and in doing so, she strengthens the bond in a way that constant availability never could. The power of restraint also allows a woman to set the pace of the relationship. She chooses when and how to reveal her thoughts, her feelings, and her deeper self. That doesn't just create anticipation, it creates respect. He starts to recognize that you are someone who knows her worth, someone who won't settle for anything less than what she deserves. That confidence, wrapped in mystery, is incredibly compelling. It makes him pay attention. It makes him appreciate every interaction more, and it makes him work harder to truly connect with you on a meaningful level. And here's the key: mystery isn't about hiding your authentic self. It's about revealing it at the right time, in the right way, and in a way that allows him to grow alongside you. It's a delicate dance of connection and curiosity, of giving and holding back. And when done with intention, it's almost impossible for a man to resist. He begins to replay moments with you in his mind, to anticipate your next conversation, your next smile, your next expression. And that creates a kind of obsession that is deep, genuine, and lasting. Restraint and mystery done right are not manipulative. They are powerful, confident, and magnetic, and they turn attraction into something far more meaningful and unforgettable.